Lion King is allegory. You know, I think all good animation at its best is allegory for us as human beings.
The story connects itself to primal stories.
You're entering into that world that has always dealt with large, basic principles and basic abstracts.
The more you try to make it authentic and true and deeper and more resonant, the more it's going to be like the great myths that have endured and that resonate now.
These are fundamental elements of the human experience. Betrayal, redemption, fitting in, family, community.
We knew that there was a kind of epic or religious epic quality to it, something like Ben-Hur or, you know, Moses.
Old Testament tales like Joseph or like Moses.
They're great old stories, and there's a reason they've stayed around for a couple thousand years is because they have some resonance to us even today. So symbolically and mythically, all those stories resonate in a really twisted new way. You know, they're spun on their ear, they're told in a way that doesn't evoke Moses when the audience sees it. The idea of a character like Joseph who grows up in virtual royalty and then is banished to return, you know, years later unrecognized by his family is, you know, really inspiration.
Simba, you're alive? How can that be?
It doesn't matter. I'm home.
That we can relate to them and say, well, if Moses saw the burning bush and got wisdom from it, why can't Simba see the burning bush in the form of Mufasa, his father, and get an inspirational message from that?
You are my son, and the one true king.
Because we were intentionally trying to work in the realm of archetypes, I think then, as soon as you do that, then you start to see how it relates to other great mythological stories.
Whether it's scholars like Bettelheim in uses of enchantment, or of course Joseph Campbell and his analysis of the hero's journey, even more contemporary versions of primal tales like the Shakespearean angle, of course the Hamlet angle that gets talked about. We took in all of that as we began to shape the story.
Whoa! Before I came aboard, it was described as Bambi in Africa with Hamlet thrown in, so Bamblet.
I think we noticed that there were similarities after we had structured certain things. Because originally Scar was a rogue lion that didn't have anything to do with the pride. And then we thought, well, it'd be more interesting if the threat comes from within.
As the king's brother, you should have been first in line.
Well, I was first in line until the little hairball was born.
And then, all right, so if it's a royal family, then what's more threatening than to have someone in the royal family be the threat? And then, you know, you made him the brother, and all of a sudden, we started seeing the Hamlet parallels.
Don't turn your back on me, Scar.
Oh no, Mufasa. Perhaps you shouldn't turn your back on me.
The Shakespearean element, to me, is not only the bad uncle and the would-be prince, it's also the juxtaposition of the tragedy with the next scene is hysterical.
Kid, what's eating you? Nothing. He's at the top of the food chain.
We wanted to represent it as a tragedy that was hopeful. The idea of a character who goes through a traumatic event and somehow has to deal with that on the screen was fascinating to us. There were days when we went more down the Hamlet path than other days. There were moments when we had lines of Shakespeare into the movie. We had, Scar throwing Mufasa off of the parapet into the stampede, saying "Good night, sweet prince," and things like that. And it became too kind of self-conscious. And so what's left is kind of the echoes of Hamlet.
The question is, who are you?
We'd all decided that there needed to be a to be or not to be scene. And it was the very last scene that was created for the movie, which is after Mufasa visits Simba and leaves, Simba's left wondering what to do.
No, please, don't leave me.
And that literally became our to be or not to be moment. And then everything after that became about being as good as that scene and really trying to bring the whole movie up to that level.